Welcome to Triopticon, a facilitation method designed to generate interaction between different ideas and disciplines. The format encourages the analysis and synthesis of diverse perspectives to enhance mutual understanding. It can be used for conferences, facilitating diverse groups, and ritual conflict. As a conference method, it lies naturally in between traditional keynote speakers with a passive audience and the highly participatory open space. By bringing together groups in a structured way and defining times for speaking, silent listening, and idea clustering, it provides the space to explore more diverse perspectives and cross-pollination of ideas. At the heart of the Triopticon is the idea of trios, groups of three that prevent the polarization of pairs and introduces variety. The Triopticon can be used both in person or in virtual space. So firstly, who is involved? There are three principal roles: experts, participants, and conveners. An expert brings domain knowledge to a forum. They are likely to have a specific perspective or experience that they share around the core topic. Participants are there to listen and then explore what comes up for them after hearing the experts. They will generate the majority of the ideas and output material produced by the Triopticon. The conveners orchestrate the event, creating the space and conditions for the experts and participants to work best together. They can be seen as the invisible hand that guides the process. They do not generate ideas, but may guide the experts and help the participants gather and cluster their thoughts and ideas. So how does it work? Through the initial phases of the Triopticon, there are periods of individuals speaking, with most people engaged in silent listening. Silent listening is where participants listen, attend, but do not interrupt, question, or discuss. These listening phases are intertwined with trios discussing what they have heard and exploring their perspectives. Finally, larger groups get together to generate more ideas and then cluster them together. The Triopticon can be thought of as a play of three acts, each with a series of scenes, but with one key difference to a regular play, because our first act is performed several times, but with different actors. Our three acts can be summarized as share, explore, and gather. Act 1 has 4 scenes, which are then played through several times. Act 2 stands alone, and Act 3 has 3 scenes. Let's now step through our play, scene by scene, using an example. Let's consider a conference retreat with 3 experts and 18 participants. Act 1, Share. Here we gain the perspective of the experts, with everyone else listening silently. Participants then discuss in trios, then share those thoughts back to the groups with time for open questions. Here's how it works. Scene 1. Our experts speak. The 3 experts sit together with the participants surrounding them. One of the experts presents their perspective on the main central topic. At the end of their presentation, the other experts respond in turn with their thoughts. To give you an idea of timing, if expert 1 speaks for 40 minutes, then there will be a 10-minute response from expert 2 and 10 minutes from expert 3. One of the conveners, the expert guide, can manage the interaction with and between the experts to manage the session. Participants are silent, listening, and taking notes. Scene 2. Trios form. The participants move out of the main space and gather in their trios. Together, they discuss what they have heard, record learning, ideas, and questions as they go. Before returning to the main space, they number themselves 1, 2, and 3. During this time, the experts will also come together in their own trio for further discussion. For our third scene of Act 1, everyone now returns to the main space. This time it is the number ones from the trios who gather in the speaking space, while the twos and threes from the trios, together with the experts, occupy the listening space. This group now discusses what they have heard, adding their own ideas and thoughts, while all the other participants listen in silence. Once this discussion is complete, there is an opportunity for everyone to get together and generally discuss and ask questions. This is our scene 4. So we've arrived at the end of our first act. We'll breathe and have a proper break. To recap, we've had a main presentation from one expert, some expert responses, some time in trios to discuss, then the number ones come together and share their perspectives. Now, here is where we change our players and play our act again. But this time our lead players are expert 2 and the number 2s from the trios. So let's run through our act again. Scene 1, expert 2 speaks, with expert 1 and 3 responding. Scene 2, we break into trios and discuss. This time, number 2s report back in the speaking circle, with everyone else silently listening. Scene 4, once complete, we get together for another round of open discussion and questions. Our second Act 1 is now complete. I'm sure you're way ahead of me and know what is next. That's right, more tea. But once we've rehydrated, we go through once again with our final leads. Expert 3 and number 3s from the trios. So, now we've played our first act, multiple times, with different players. So let's have another break, then we'll come back for Act 2. In Act 2 we explore further. Act 2 is a single scene. Here we mix our participants together again to form new combinations to work together. Each working group is made up of one member of each trio. So for our group of 18 participants, we would have 3 groups of 6. These groups now explore their knowledge and experience with each other, stimulated by the multiple playing of Act 1. The aim is to generate concepts to explore, ideas to capture, and methods to develop. During this time, the experts move around to further stimulate the groups, dipping in briefly rather than staying too long. The groups are now encouraged to document their findings, usually on post-its in a workshop or on a virtual whiteboard for online sessions. These whiteboards remain open and accessible in all the sessions, as new ideas may emerge at any point. Our final act, Act 3, is now about gathering the ideas together and forming items to action after our discussion. One scene for clustering, a second to map to the Cynefin framework, and a final scene for making commitments. Scene 1. Cluster. The group all gathers around the materials and are asked to cluster the ideas. Where are the patterns, the commonalities, and the outliers? This might stimulate more material which can be added to the boards. Scene 2. Cynefin. If utilising Cynefin, these elements can then be mapped onto the framework, looking at which items reside in the clear, complicated, complex or chaotic domains, or at the boundaries. Scene 3. Commitments. In our final scene, we want to transform these thoughts and ideas into actions, activities, and commitments. This enables concrete activities and commitments to emerge from the collaborative Triopticon. The event is then formally closed to form a ritualized ending of the process. Our Triopticon is now complete. We have performed our 3 collaborative acts, combining and recombining the participants to form new ideas, methods and activities to build on. In our next chapters, we will explore some variations and additional roles that can be used when running a Triopticon session.